All right, so here, today is the day. We're finally going to do a startup on this thing. And, you know, like building this thing all the way up to today, super excited, looking forward so badly to this day. It was just huge hype. And now that we're here and I was dealing with some wiring and stuff like that, that sinking gut feeling of if it doesn't go right, how are we going to figure out what is wrong? Man, because it's a Chevy, like legendary reliability, known for quality automobiles. Oh man, the more I think about this, what was I thinking? That's okay. I've been into it this far. There's no going back. So let me jump right into this and we'll show you what we got. Okay, so let's not waste too much time. I'm gonna get right into this and we're gonna pound this video out. So what I did for this is a bit of a mess. That's okay, it's organized enough for me. So just for the initial startup to make things simple, I put the stock throttle body back on here because if you look up inside of there, back here, there's the idle control valve and the idle control passages, and also the little pinhole there. And with the aftermarket throttle bodies they have here, the bigger ones, you can see that the idle control passage is not big enough, nor is there a pinhole in there. And they're known to be finicky for getting it to idle with a cam. So I just wanted to take that off the table, so we're not dealing with that for the initial startup. That I can play with later. So with the standalone harness, it involves having 2 live powers on the starter, which I have down there. This other one here is like basically when you turn your key on, it needs to be a solid 12 volts while cranking. So you got to have a solid 12 volts while it's cranking, not just 12 volts, but it needs to be switched. So basically I ran a jumper wire down to the battery. I have the OBD2 plug sitting up there on the edge, which I'm going to plug the computer in, deal with the VATs, the vehicle anti-theft. So when I did ground this thing at the back of the head and the body control, basically I did have to do a couple of jump in the grounds around here a little bit to make sure, because I was doing some testing and I didn't have ground up here. I was going to, when I went to go ground this harness for the body control, I was doing some testing and I didn't realize I had proper voltage or ground or any, like, so I needed to make another jumper wire, because even though I had it grounded down here in the block on my battery, it wasn't getting up to the top, wasn't getting to the body. So down here, we got fuel blue, which is in the relay box here. That pin there is the one to feed the fuel for this guy, the fuel pump on. Ground obviously is the ground, and then I got my 12 volt constant here, which is to the starter, to the computer, and then this other red one here is my solenoid. That's what we're gonna need to do to start it. So let's just see. I hope
towards my dreaming, but the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand, and damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put it.
The computer, and then I bought the credits from the guy who sold me the cable, and I don't know, it's saying that right now there's no credits on my thing, so I'm literally just waiting for the call back to see what happens from here. Just the waiting game, you know. All right, guys, so I guess this is it. We're just gonna do this. It's got no exhaust in this thing, so I got my headphones on. Oh man. The fuel. say. So it started. Look at that. I was having give me a hard time, and all it was is I just needed to give it like a little bit of the throttle and have this thing, the mass airflow, hooked up to it a little bit. But it started. What a relief. Holy cow. It's been a long time to get this far. Quite the journey to hear the thing finally start. And I never heard this thing run at all. This was like just a shell with no motor. Well, there was a motor, was flopped in there, no engine mounts, no nothing. And I picked up on a motor. I just basically tore it apart and just put the parts into it, put it back together. I had no idea, like, you know, the injectors, the coils, like nothing, Chinese wiring harness, you name it. It was all such a gamble, and it's finally paid off. To hear that is quite motivating. With that being said, so I still have to lock that rear end in, do the driveline angle. We still got to make an exhaust for it. I got a whole bunch of stuff. I got to plumb all the wiring for this thing yet to actually get the key to start it. I got to put this harness in the inside the interior now, that kind of stuff. So if you guys want to see some more videos, I'll keep pumping them up. But thanks for tuning in for the startup, guys. It's been a great journey, and hopefully you get subscribed, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.